Now, as much as it disappoints me, I have to admit that I'm not a superhero. But if you think about it, insurance does have a lot of superhero-like powers. It comes in when you need it most and rescues you to put you straight back on your feet. As a parent, I'm sure at least once you've thought about the impact of something happening to either of you where one of you wasn't around anymore or unable to work for a period of time, and what the impact of this would be on you and the family. These thoughts are the types of things that will come to you late at night, keeping you awake, or more commonly, when something tragic happens to someone that's close to you. With insurance, there are two main objections that I hear from you which stop you from getting this done. Number one, you don't have time. And number two, you don't know where to start. Now, as I mentioned before, I'm not a superhero, so I can't give you more time, but what I can do is show you where to start and hopefully make it a little bit shorter and easier for you to get done, giving you some of that precious time back. The first place to start is how much cover do you need? Now, if you ask 5 different people, you're gonna get 5 different responses here. What's important to me is making sure that whatever you choose to do makes sense. And what I mean by that is that you're able to explain the reasons that you've selected the cover levels that you have. I call this being able to tell your insurance story. In another video that you can check out, I've explained this in more detail, which shows the narrative that I tell for each of the different cover levels, so you can work out exactly how much cover you need in this scenario. There are multiple options for how to get this cover sorted out. You could use the Barefoot Investor's suggested cover, which is a multiple of your salary. You could use the ASIC, the Money Smart calculator that I've included in the links below as well. Or there's a method that I've put together. If you answer a series of questions, we'll show you exactly how much you need based on the principles that I support. Whichever way you choose to go, working out how much insurance you need is the foundation and the first step that you should take in getting this sorted. The next step is, where do you go to get this sorted? Now, there's a number of different options that you can work through here, and I've included 3 for you. The first one is you can go back to your existing superannuation funds and get a quote for the cover levels that you worked out in step number 1. The pros of doing this is that it's generally quite easy to get this cover in place with less questions through a superannuation fund than there are if you went directly to the insurance company. There's also limited underwriting, which means it's actually easier in most cases to get this cover in place. This is particularly helpful if you've got some medical conditions and you need some cover that you couldn't get elsewhere. Some of the cons of looking at going through your super fund is that there's no advice, so there's no tailoring of this package. Also, when you compare the features of some of these policies, you'll notice that the quality of these covers is more limited than others you'll be able to find. The next option is to go to some of the online comparison sites. These online sites, again, will take the numbers that you've worked out in step number 1 and allow you to get some pricing or quotes for the level of cover that you need. The pros to this is that it's quite quick. Again, you don't have to meet with an advisor, go through a whole series of questions only to get the pricing back. So you'll get a pretty good indication as to how much this will cost. The limitations to this is depending on where you go, some of these online providers will be owned by insurance companies and they funnel you in to the products that they own themselves. Another con to this is there's no personalization or advice. So you're really on your own to work out whether the cover levels that you're applying for are exactly right for you, if there's something better that you could be doing from a structured point of view, super, non-super, those sorts of things. The third option is to ask for help. Now, this is my job. I do this every single day, so I help out in these scenarios when you don't want to do it yourself. The pros to this is it's obviously a lot more personal than going online and getting a quote or going back to your super fund, and you get a tailored approach to getting this sorted out for you. Some of the cons are that you do need to pay for this advice. It can take longer. There's more steps that we have to go through, but it is a more comprehensive and thorough way of doing it, which can suit you if this is what you're looking for. Step number 3 is to close the loop. And what I mean by this is give the money that you've now got a home should anything happen to you. I'm talking in this scenario about your will and estate planning needs, or even more simply, adding a beneficiary to the policies that you've put in place, whether they be external or included with your super fund. I'm always surprised at how often this step is overlooked, because it is the most simple if you've gone through these earlier steps to nominate who this money goes to should anything happen to you. So make sure at step number 3, you are closing that loop if you are looking at getting insurances done properly. These 3 steps will help you when you're getting started, and I'll throw in a bonus one for you that will help you come back and adjust these cover levels in the future. If you've taken my advice in step number 1 and worked out what your insurance story is, you'll be able to come back and adjust the cover levels that you need as that story changes. What I mean by this is, for most of you, when you're looking at doing insurance, you do it when your needs are the most, meaning you've just taken on new debt, you've started a family. All these sort of things are the triggers that get you to look at insurance more seriously. You combine that with the factor that I mentioned at the start of this video, being that something happened to someone close to you, and that's a good motivation for you to look at this and actually take it seriously. As time goes on and your needs change, in most scenarios, this need is actually reducing, meaning the need for your insurance comes down as your wealth goes up, your kids get older, all those sorts of things. By having this insurance framework that you can come back and revisit, you'll be able to reduce the amount of insurance you need and therefore reduce the premiums that you spend over time. Now, I understand that you may not see insurance as the superhero that I do, but that's fine. I hope this video will help you with a few easy steps that you can take to get started with this and also save you some time in the process.